Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Sonny Hostin of The View being forced to read a legal note after they spent an entire segment talking about Matt Gaetz and the allegations against him that have not resulted in any charges at all. The DOJ, the House Ethics Committee, looked into it. They investigated, and it didn't find enough to bring forth any charges. So the matter's closed. We should be able to move on, right? Well, of course, that's not really how that works. And this is part of the reason why I didn't love the Matt Gaetz nomination to become the Attorney General, because this allegation is still going to be there. Even though it went through DOJ, all of that, and there's nothing that came of it, it's still going to be there. Also, Matt Gaetz may not be able to deny what he did here, even though he will not get locked up for it or has not been locked up for it. Now, I don't know if they're going to try to come back later and do something else to get him in the penitentiary, but I don't think so. And I think there's a reason for this. Now, before I go any further, let's get into a news clip to get into the details of what Matt Gaetz was accused of doing. After we get done watching this, we're going to go to The View and see the contrast from one point in the segment until the very end, the very, very end, where they have the legal note. And of course, everything will be in the box. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General is facing new pressure this week from his accusers and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Matt Gaetz is at the center of several allegations involving drugs, bribes, and sex. Gaetz resigned last week ahead of the expected release of a House Ethics Committee report. Sources tell CBS News the committee is expected to meet on Wednesday, while lawmakers remain divided over its release.
We don't want to set a precedent where we, under any circumstances, will release documents from that committee.
I believe the Senate should have access to that. Now, should it be released to the public or not? That's I guess that will be.
Let's pause for a second. They will probably not release it to the public. Maybe some hacker or somebody like this, whatever they want to call it, might have it released. But I don't think the Senate, I don't think the government wants it released, because part of the reason why I was looking at this as a kind of a bad pick is because once they release that information, it's going to open a can of worms, and a lot of other individuals are going to be implicated. So they'd rather not have that fallout. They'd rather just go forward and let him do his thing and not charge him than to open that can of worms and have more people implicated. Because ultimately what happened here is that Matt Gaetz allegedly paid a 17-year-old for sex. That's the allegation. However, there were other women who were not 17. There were adults in the mix. They're going to parties, hanging out, doing all this, that, and the third, hotel rooms, whatever they're doing. And that was just the culture of what was going on. And allegedly, when Matt Gaetz found out how old she was, he stopped the relationship. Is it enough to keep him off of the Attorney General seat? We'll see.
Part of the negotiations.
And the lawyer for two witnesses who testified before the House Ethics Committee is sharing his client's support for those details to be revealed. Major Gaetz sat down with that lawyer earlier today for the CBS Evening News and joins me right now. Major, what did he have to tell you about those allegations?
The lawyer's name is Joel Leopard, and he represents two of, he told us, was 11 witnesses who have testified before the House Ethics.
So 11 witnesses, what does this mean? Are these some of the other girls who were partying with Matt Gaetz and his friends? And by the way, one of Matt Gaetz' friends in the situation, a guy by the name of Joel Greenberg, got locked up. And some of his charges included what they accused Matt Gaetz of doing. But the main thing they got Joel Greenberg going was fraud, wire fraud. It was a really big case. It was on an episode of CNBC. Was that Greed? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. That show where they talk about the scams and whatnot people do. It was an episode of that. It was so big and it was wide ranging. I think millions of dollars, if not more. So I think the main thing the other guy got locked up for was the money part and not so much sex trafficking.
Committee, and he said that the two clients that he represented attended many parties, 10 to 15, in which Matt Gaetz was present, and their presence there, that is to say his two clients, was with the understanding that they would be paid to have sex with guests at these various parties. Among those, Matt Gaetz. Here's also part of what he told us.
She arrived at the party. She had sex with Representative Gaetz within minutes of her arrival. Later on, when she was walking out to the pool area, she observed to her right Representative Gaetz having sex with her friend who was 17 at the time.
And on this question, she's absolutely sure.
She's absolutely certain that she observed seeing her friend and Representative Gaetz having sex against what she described as a game table of some sort.
If the House Ethics Committee report were to be made public, what do you think it would reveal?
My clients want to know that this happened and it's real. They didn't vote in the last two elections. They don't care one way or another. But they do want the public to know that they're not lying. They did not come forward willingly. They've never spoken to anyone without the force of a legal subpoena. The testimonies of her and the other 11 individuals that testified would show that this actually did happen, and the American people would know, and they could decide if that's the person they want to be the next Attorney General of the United States.
I mean, really, the ethics report coming out probably won't sway people. The allegation would be enough to sway you if you're going to be swayed, in my opinion.
United States.
Joe Leopard also told us that there are lots of text messages in the possession of the House Ethics Committee between Matt Gaetz and his two clients and others, and that the Ethics Committee is in possession of Venmo and PayPal receipts showing that Matt Gaetz and others working in his behalf paid for sex at these parties.
Now, the thing about it is, okay, if we're going to talk about the whole paying thing, what charge is that's going to get somebody sent to the penitentiary? We're not talking about sexual assault. That's not what's going on here. Although the 17-year-old obviously cannot consent, so there would be the assault. But again, the DOJ, the House Ethics Committee, looked into this, and there was no charges. This has been going on for a long time. His friend, Joel Greenberg, who got locked up behind this, got locked up in 2021. It's almost 2025. Do you think there's going to be a thing where Matt Gaetz goes to prison now? No. So it's kind of a nothing burger. Now, here is The View. Okay. You know how they do. They always kind of go back and forth, talking about how bad this person is, how bad that person is. They hate Trump, although they used to love him with all their heart. And now here they are talking about Matt Gaetz. Now, on the top right here, this is her talking about the situation the same way they always do, with a negative spin. And right here, they got to give the legal note because, again, he has been investigated. DOJ, House Ethics Committee, no charges. His friend got locked up, but he didn't.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Sonny.
Let's pause for a second because The View loves to do copyright claims. But here is Whoopi Goldberg teeing Sonny Hostin up to read the legal note.
You have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi.
You could tell she does not want to read that. That face right there, she does not want to read this note. But they have to. Aren't you a lawyer, Miss Hostin? You know how this thing goes. You can say there's an allegation, all this, that, and the third, but you also got to say that there's been no charges and Matt Gaetz denies the allegations. You got to say that.
Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
There it is. So, hey, at this point, as I close, it's a matter of what you think. It's a matter of how you think about the situation. And you know what? Maybe they should put out the report. And if they put out the report, let's get the full report. The things that go on in Washington, D.C., the things that go on in politics every day, that nobody really cares about, nobody goes to prison. What Matt Gaetz allegedly did here kind of pales in comparison. It might make somebody's stomach turn, the allegations, but really, in the greater scheme of things, it appears to be a nothing burger. If the DOJ, and by the way, this is Merrick Garland's DOJ, this is not under Trump. If Merrick Garland's DOJ saw something they could get Matt Gaetz on, then they would have done it. We see what they did to Trump. They had nothing, but still made it something. If they had something, they'd get him on it. They don't. So it is what it is. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about the allegations against Matt Gaetz? Is it a deal breaker? Is it not a deal breaker? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. As I said from the beginning, I didn't love this nomination because of the allegations. I didn't love it. I felt like they could have got somebody better without that baggage. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying Matt Gaetz is a bad politician, but that baggage is just going to be, I already knew as soon as it said Matt Gaetz, I knew that this story would come up immediately. I knew it. So now that's going to be a hurdle toward being confirmed, because Trump can nominate these people, but the Senate, they got to confirm it. Now, we have the majority House in it, but are we going to get everybody on the same page to ignore the allegations, to ignore the cash apps or whatever? Are we going to get everybody on the same page to ignore that? I don't know. It's going to be kind of an uphill battle in my humble opinion, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Thank you, Whoopi.